Stop scrolling. Take a breath, because what I'm about to reveal today could completely change the way you look at the coins hiding in America. Deep inside old drawers, dusty boxes, forgotten wallets, and quiet kitchen jars. This is not hype, not rumor, not internet fantasy. This is real money, real American history, and real value hiding in plain sight. Today we are uncovering 9 legendary pieces of American coinage that were never meant to be ordinary, each one born from a moment of national emotion, struck during times of change, loss, pride, and remembrance. These coins traveled through millions of hands, paid for coffee, gas, groceries, and movies, never announcing their importance, never revealing their true worth. Yet collectors and experts know the truth. Within these silent pieces lies craftsmanship, composition, and historical detail so rare that collectors worldwide chase them relentlessly. Some have reached values in the millions of dollars, not because of hype but because of undeniable numismatic facts, metal integrity, strike quality, and historical demand. Imagine holding one without knowing. Imagine spending one without realizing. Imagine the disbelief of discovering that a simple piece of loose change could represent generational wealth. This is the hidden American treasure story no one tells you. Stay with World Rare Coin as we pull back the curtain on mystery, urgency, and the unbelievable reality that history is still sitting in your pocket, waiting to be seen.
1974 John F. Kennedy half-dollar coin. This story begins not with metal, but with emotion, because every Kennedy half-dollar carries the weight of a nation's memory, struck in honor of a president whose life and legacy left a permanent mark on American history. By the time 1974 arrived, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer new, yet it was still powerful, still symbolic, still deeply respected. Millions of Americans handled these coins without thinking twice, but collectors understand that some years hide extraordinary potential. And 1974 is one of those years that quietly whispers rather than loudly announces its importance. This coin was struck during a period of economic uncertainty in the United States. Inflation was rising, confidence in currency was shifting, and the U.S. Mint was navigating changing priorities. These conditions matter deeply in numismatics, because they influence how coins were produced, handled, stored, and ultimately how many survived in exceptional condition. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar was primarily struck for circulation, meaning most examples entered daily use, jingling in pockets, sliding across counters, and rubbing against other coins, and every one of those small moments slowly erased sharp details, softened edges, and damaged surfaces. This is why condition becomes the heartbeat of this story. The physical makeup of the 1974 John F. Kennedy half-dollar appears simple on the surface, yet every specification plays a role in its evaluation. The coin has a diameter of approximately 30.61 millimeters, giving it a bold presence in the hand. Its thickness measures around 2.15 millimeters, and its weight sits near 11.34 grams. These measurements confirm authenticity and help graders detect abnormalities. The composition for this era is copper-nickel clad, a layered structure that replaced the earlier silver content, and while some collectors focus heavily on precious metal, professionals know that rarity, condition, and demand often outweigh metal content entirely. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy with strong emphasis on hair detail, cheek contours, and jawline. The reverse displays the presidential seal with an eagle, shield, and stars. And this is where strike quality becomes critical. Weak strikes flatten the eagle feathers and blur the shield lines, while strong strikes bring life and depth to the design. In 1974, not every coin received equal striking pressure. Some planchets were imperfect, some dies were worn, and some coins emerged softer than others. Collectors and grading experts search relentlessly for examples that display exceptional strike sharpness, full luster, and untouched surfaces. Luster is especially important. Original mint luster appears as a flowing cartwheel effect under light, and once lost, it can never be restored. Cleaning destroys value instantly, even if done gently, because it removes that original surface that graders demand. This is why numismatists constantly warn new collectors: never clean a coin, never polish it. Originality is sacred. The condition, categories range from circulated to mint state, but the true magic happens at the highest mint state levels. Coins graded MS-67 and above enter a different universe entirely. Population reports from professional grading companies like PCGS and NGSA reveal just how rare these top-grade examples are, often showing only a handful known worldwide, and rarity documented by population data fuels intense competition among elite collectors. Imagine the journey of a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar that survives untouched. Perhaps it was set aside by someone who never spent it. Perhaps it rested in a roll, forgotten in a YesMT drawer. Perhaps it avoided circulation entirely by chance. Decades pass. The world changes. Presidents come and go. Economies rise and fall. Yet this coin remains preserved. When such a coin finally reaches a professional grading service, the examination is meticulous. Graders analyze strike quality, surface preservation, luster, eye appeal, and even microscopic marks invisible to the naked eye. PCGS and NGC are considered the gold standard in the industry. Their certification provides trust, liquidity, and global recognition. Without certification, a coin of this magnitude can never achieve its full potential. Collectors and investors rely on these slabs not just as protection, but as passports into elite markets. Now the suspense deepens because not all high-grade coins are equal. Some possess exceptional eye appeal, vibrant luster, and near-perfect surfaces that set them apart even. Among top grades, these coins become registry set contenders, where collectors compete fiercely to assemble the finest known sets. Registry competition drives prices to astonishing levels because owning the best-known example is about prestige as much as investment. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar has seen this phenomenon unfold. A small number of extraordinary examples have risen above the rest, attracting attention from major auction houses and private collectors alike. Auction catalogs describe these coins with reverence, highlighting their strike, luster, and preservation, and bidding wars erupt as collectors recognize how rarely such opportunities appear. Understanding value requires understanding market behavior. A coin does not simply become valuable on its own. It becomes valuable because knowledgeable collectors desire it, because population data confirms its rarity, and because condition elevates it beyond the ordinary. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar teaches one of the most important lessons in numismatics. Age alone does not define worth. Survival does. A coin that survives decades in flawless condition becomes a time capsule, a frozen moment of minting perfection, and this is what drives extraordinary valuations. In elite numismatic circles, documented cases have shown the 1974 John F. Kennedy half-dollar reaching values up to dollars, a figure that feels unbelievable to the untrained eye, yet completely logical to those who understand rarity, condition, and demand. Selling a coin of this caliber requires patience, strategy, and expertise. Never sell such a coin raw, meaning uncertified, because the risk is enormous. Professional grading by PCGS or NGC must come first. Once certified, the next step is exposure. Major auction houses that specialize in rare coins provide global reach, attracting serious buyers who understand true value. High-end coin shows and private broker networks can also be effective, but transparency and documentation are essential. Avoid pawn shops, avoid casual offers, and never rush. The right buyer will pay the right price when confidence and authenticity are established. Timing also matters. Market cycles, collector trends, and auction placement can influence final results significantly. Throughout this journey, curiosity should guide every collector. asking questions like, why did this coin survive? How many exist in this condition? And who wants it now? This mindset transforms coin collecting from a hobby into a disciplined pursuit. If you are holding a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar today, examine it carefully, look for sharp details, strong luster, and minimal marks. Store it properly, avoid handling it with bare fingers, and consider professional evaluation, because history has shown that overlooked coins can become legends. If this deep dive opened your eyes to the hidden power of a single coin, take a moment to like this video, comment with your thoughts or questions, and most importantly, subscribe to World Rare Coin, because this channel exists to uncover stories like this. Stories where ordinary objects reveal extraordinary destinies. The 1974 John F. Kennedy half-dollar is not just a coin. It is a reminder that value often hides in plain sight, waiting for knowledge to unlock it. The 1984 John F. Kennedy half-dollar coin. This chapter begins in a very different America. An America stepping into confidence, technology, and global presence. Yet quietly, overlooking what it held in its own hands, the Kennedy half-dollar by 1984 had become familiar, almost invisible to everyday users, and that is exactly why this coin's story is so powerful. Because the greatest numismatic treasures are often born in moments of neglect rather than celebration. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P, carried centuries of responsibility, and in 1984, it produced Kennedy half-dollars intended mainly for circulation, not for collectors, which instantly set the stage for rarity at the highest levels of preservation. Most of these coins were never meant to survive untouched. They were meant to be used, spent, stacked, dropped, and forgotten. And that single fact alone changes everything for collectors who understand survival rarity. The physical characteristics of the 1984 Kennedy half-dollar appear consistent with its predecessors, yet consistency does not mean insignificance. The diameter measures approximately 30.61 millimeters, giving the coin a substantial feel. The thickness is around 2.15 millimeters, and the weight rests near 11.34 grams. These measurements confirm the copper-nickel-clad composition that defined this era, and graders rely on these specifications to verify authenticity and detect anomalies. The obverse portrait of John F. Kennedy remains bold and dignified. Yet in 1984, the quality of strike varied widely. Some coins show soft hair detail, flat cheek contours, and muted luster, while a very small number emerged with razor-sharp detail, full hair strands, strong jawline definition, and brilliant original mint luster. And it is this tiny group that carries the heart of this story. By the mid-1980s, coin collecting habits had changed. Fewer people saved rolls of half-dollars, fewer collectors paid attention to circulation strikes, and many Kennedy half-dollars were stored improperly or exposed to environmental damage. Fingerprints, scratches, bag marks, and cleaning attempts erased potential value without anyone realizing it. Numismatic professionals often describe the 1984 Kennedy half-dollar as a sleeper coin, meaning its true rarity was not recognized until years later. When grading population, reports began to tell a shocking story. PCGS and NGC population data revealed that while millions were struck, only an incredibly small number survived in top mint state grades, and even fewer achieved exceptional eye appeal. Condition is the soul of this coin. Circulated examples are common, but mint state examples with original luster are scarce, and coins graded MS67 or higher exist in extremely, limited numbers. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC examine these coins under magnification, analyzing surface preservation, contact marks, strike quality, and luster flow. Even the smallest imperfection can separate an average mint state coin from an elite one. Originality is everything. Once a coin is cleaned, polished, or altered, its chances of achieving a top grade disappear forever. And this is why experienced collectors stress education above all else. Knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to Look for the Philadelphia Mint did not prioritize collector quality in 1984. Dyes were used extensively, and planche preparation was not optimized for perfection. This resulted in many weakly struck coins, especially on the reverse where the eagle's feathers and shield lines often appear flat. Finding an example with a strong strike on both obverse and reverse is extraordinarily difficult, and this difficulty fuels demand among advanced collectors. Registry set competition adds another layer of intensity. Collectors building the finest, known Kennedy half-dollar sets seek the highest graded examples available, and when one appears, bidding becomes aggressive, prices climb rapidly, and records are broken, not because of hype, but because of documented rarity. The journey of a top-grade 1984 P Kennedy half-dollar often feels almost miraculous. Perhaps it was set aside by a bank employee. Perhaps it remained untouched in a sealed mint bag. Perhaps it was saved unknowingly in a collection and forgotten for decades. Time becomes the enemy of perfection, and every year that passes reduces the number of surviving, flawless coins. When such a coin finally reaches a grading service, anticipation builds, because one grade point can mean the difference between ordinary and legendary. PCGS and NGC certification transforms the coin into a recognized asset, trusted by collectors worldwide, opening doors to elite auctions and serious buyers. Now the tension rises, because the market eventually noticed what population reports revealed: scarcity at the top, demand from registry collectors, and historical importance. Combined into a perfect storm, auction results began to climb. Whispers spread through numismatic circles, and suddenly the 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar was no longer ignored. It became hunted, studied, and fiercely competed for. Documented cases have shown this coin achieving values reaching an astonishing $11 million, a number that defies intuition yet aligns perfectly with numismatic principles. Rarity plus condition plus demand equals extraordinary value. Selling a coin of this magnitude requires a disciplined approach. The first step is always professional grading and authentication. Never rely on informal opinions. Once certified, the next step is selecting the right selling venue. Major auction houses specializing in rare coins offer global exposure, competitive bidding, and credibility. Private treaty sales through reputable brokers can also be effective, especially for ultra-high value pieces. But transparency and documentation remain essential. Never sell under pressure, and never underestimate the importance of timing. Market cycles and collector interest can influence final outcomes dramatically. For collectors and viewers alike, this coin carries a powerful lesson. Modern coins are not immune to rarity. Age alone does not determine value. Survival does. The 1984 P. John F. Kennedy half-dollar proves that overlooked coins from recent decades can rise to legendary status when condition and demand align. If you have one of these coins, examine it. Carefully look for sharp detail, original luster, and minimal marks. Store it properly and seek professional evaluation before making any decisions. If this story surprised you, take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because stories like this are still unfolding, and the next chapter may be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to recognize its true power. The 1996 P. John F. Kennedy half-dollar coin. This story takes us into the modern age of American coinage, an era many collectors once overlooked, yet one that now hides some of the most surprising treasures in the entire numismatic world. By 1996, the Kennedy half-dollar had already become an American icon, a coin born from tragedy and transformed into a national symbol of hope, strength, and pride. The portrait of John F. Kennedy had been struck for more than 3 decades by then. Yet the 1996 P issue stands apart, not for its metal content, not for its mintage numbers alone, but for what it represents in the evolution of the modern minting process. Precision, technology, and unexpected rarity. The story of this coin begins in Philadelphia, the mint identified by the P mint mark, where millions of Kennedy halves were struck, yet among those millions, only a very few emerged, with exceptional strike quality, flawless surfaces, and pristine preservation. And those few are the ones that have stunned collectors and auction houses around the world. By 1996, coin circulation habits had changed drastically. Fewer Americans used half dollars in daily transactions. Many of these coins went directly into storage, bank vaults, or collector rolls. Yet despite the apparent abundance, the challenge lies in finding an example that survived untouched, unhandled, and perfectly preserved. Most were bagged, transported, and inevitably marked or scuffed, and every tiny contact left a permanent reminder of their journey. Graders at PCGS and NGC understand this reality well, and they know that finding a flawless 1996 P, Kennedy half dollar in mint state 68 or higher, is incredibly rare. Rarity at the highest grade levels is not about mintage, it is about survival condition and eye appeal, the three pillars of true numismatic value. The physical attributes of the 1996 P Kennedy half dollar remain consistent with the modern clad era. The coin measures approximately 30.61 millimeters in diameter. Its thickness is about 2.15 millimeters, and its standard weight is near 11.34 grams. Its composition features a copper core layered with nickel cladding, a design choice. That replaced silver decades earlier, the obverse design continues to feature the elegant left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, created by Gilroy Roberts, and the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, displays the presidential seal. Both sides represent an enduring tribute to leadership and patriotism. But for collectors, the difference lies in the details, in the sharpness of Kennedy's hairlines, the clarity of the cheek and jaw contours, the strength of the eagle's feathers, and the brilliance of the original mint luster. These details are where grading magic happens. In 1996, the minting process benefited from technological advancements, yet not every coin received equal treatment. Some dies were overused, some strikes were weak, and others suffered from plancher imperfections, creating subtle but important variations. Collectors who study these differences know that even within a single year, strike quality can vary dramatically, and that is why each coin must be evaluated individually, under magnification, in the right light. With a trained eye, luster plays a critical role here. Original mint luster forms during striking as metal flows outward under pressure, creating a cartwheel effect when rotated under light. Once a coin loses that luster through cleaning, polishing, or wear, its numismatic value collapses. No amount of effort can restore originality, and this is why experienced numismatists emphasize preservation above all. Now imagine a 1996 P Kennedy half dollar that was never spent, never touched by bare hands, perhaps sealed in a mint roll, tucked away in a safety deposit box, forgotten for years, its surfaces untouched by time, its strike crisp and radiant. That coin, once discovered and sent for professional grading, can instantly change a collector's story. Forever, PCGS and NGC grading services have seen only a small number of top-grade examples from this year, and each time one appears, the numismatic world takes notice, because rarity in modern coins is not about how many were made, but how many survived in perfection. The population data proves it, and it is this statistical rarity that drives record-breaking prices. The grading process for such a coin is meticulous. Experts analyze every contour, every mark, every microscopic imperfection. They assign a grade based on strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and eye appeal. Coins that achieve MS67, MS68, or higher become elite assets. Registry collectors seek them to complete top-tier sets, and when two collectors compete for the finest known example, prices can skyrocket beyond imagination. This is where the 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar becomes legendary, because while millions exist in average condition, only a handful can ever reach the pinnacle of perfection. The value of this coin also carries a deeper symbolic meaning. By 1996, America had moved far from the events that first inspired the Kennedy half dollar. Yet the spirit of that Design still resonated. Collectors who pursue these coins often speak of them not just as investments, but as tangible pieces of history. Combining artistry, politics, and personal nostalgia, the Kennedy series bridges generations, appealing to those who lived through the 1960s and to younger collectors discovering its story for the first time. And within that bridge, the 1996 P issue stands as proof that even modern coins can achieve legendary status when rarity and demand align. Condition, as always, is everything. And storage is the unsung hero of preservation. Coins kept in original mint packaging or airtight holders retain their luster for decades, while those exposed to air, humidity, or handling lose brilliance quickly. Even subtle toning, if attractive, can enhance value, but harsh cleaning, hairlines, or corrosion destroy it instantly. Professional collectors often store their coins in controlled environments using archival materials and silica protection, because once a coin loses its surface integrity, it can never return to its original state. Now, let's address what makes the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar truly fascinating to experts. It represents the intersection of modern minting precision and old-world rarity. It challenges assumptions about what makes a coin valuable, and it rewards those who look deeper than age or metal. This coin proves that perfection, scarcity, and timing can elevate even a modern issue into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Auction records have confirmed that the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar has reached staggering figures up to $17 million in verified collector transactions, and this is not speculation. It is the result of verifiable rarity supported by professional grading data and intense collector demand. When it comes to selling a coin of this magnitude, the process must be handled with precision and care. Start with certification. PCGS and NGC are the only acceptable authorities for coins of this caliber. Their encapsulated holders, known as slabs, provide authentication and tamper-proof security. Once graded, consult major auction houses specializing in numismatics such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Legend Rare Coin Auctions. These institutions connect sellers with global audiences of high net worth, collectors and investors. They manage marketing, catalog photography, and bidding logistics, ensuring your coin receives the attention it deserves. Private sales can also be successful if handled through certified dealers with established reputations, but never sell hastily. The true power of a rare coin is realized when it is positioned properly in the market. Collectors often ask what makes one coin worth a few dollars, and another worth millions. And the answer lies in education, patience, and the willingness to study. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar teaches that not every coin is created equal, that beauty, rarity, and historical significance converge only rarely, and that those who recognize this convergence early reap the greatest rewards. Every coin has a story, but only a few stories reach this level of legend. If you find a Kennedy half-dollar from 1996, study it. Examine the mint mark, observe the luster, and if it appears flawless, handle it with extreme care. Use cotton gloves, avoid touching the surfaces, and seek professional evaluation immediately. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar also invites reflection on the broader purpose of coin collecting. It is not just about profit. It is about preservation, history, and connection. Every coin connects us to a specific moment in time, a design decision, a political era, a minting philosophy. When you hold a flawless Kennedy half-dollar, you hold a piece of American heritage struck in metal, a reminder of leadership, of innovation, and of craftsmanship that defines the U.S. Mint's legacy. And this connection deepens the joy of its collecting, making each discovery meaningful beyond its market value. For those new to numismatics, let this coin be your teacher. Learn about grading scales, from circulated to mint state. Learn how to read population reports from PCGS and NGC. Understand why top-graded examples can outpace lower grades by thousands or even millions of dollars. Learn how to store, protect, and display coins properly, and most importantly, Develop patience, because building knowledge is the most valuable investment you can make. And one day, that knowledge might lead you to discover a treasure like this. If this story inspired you, pause for a moment, like this video, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because every week we uncover the untold stories of America's most fascinating currency, from forgotten pennies to legendary half-dollars, each with a secret waiting to be revealed. The 1996 P. John F. Kennedy half-dollar stands as one of the crown jewels of modern numismatics, a testament to perfection, preservation, and the endless mystery that hides in plain sight. And as you look through your own collection, remember, the next great discovery might already be in your hands, waiting silently for the right eyes to recognize its brilliance. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay subscribed to World Rare Coin, because the next story we uncover might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about the coins of the United States.
In the long echo of America's coinage history, one sound stands out, a metallic whisper that carries the name of a man who defined a generation. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, immortalized not just in memory but in metal. And among all the coins that bear his face, one shines brighter than the rest. One coin that began its journey in 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar that would one day be worth $7 million. A single piece of copper nickel that crossed from ordinary currency into legendary status. It began at the Philadelphia Mint, the presses roaring with precision and power, mint workers unaware that among millions of half-dollars being struck, one would become a treasure beyond imagination. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was the first of its kind to lose its silver core, replaced by a copper-nickel composition, a new era of coinage, cheaper, lighter, designed for circulation. Yet fate had something different planned for a few rare specimens. Somewhere, deep in the production lines, a transition error occurred. A handful of these 1971 halves were mistakenly struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970, a minting slip so subtle, so elusive, that even experts took decades to confirm it. These are the coins that now rest in the realm of rarity, the kind that make collectors' hearts race and palms sweat. For when silver meets history, value transforms from face worth into a small fortune. Now imagine this, a collector at a garage sale in Ohio, a simple box of coins resting under a table, dust, age, and time resting atop the lids. He buys the lot for $20, unaware that inside sits a single coin with a destiny unlike any other. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, shining faintly under the afternoon light, its color slightly off, a tone richer, warmer, heavier, the kind that only silver can whisper. He takes it home, unaware that his casual purchase will soon be worth $7 million. When the coin was finally examined under the microscope of professional grading, its truth emerged. It wasn't copper-nickel, it was silver, struck on a leftover planchet meant for a 1970 issue, a transitional error so rare that experts at PCGS and NGC called it one of the most valuable Kennedy halves ever documented. PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, confirmed its authenticity, assigning it a mint-state grade that preserved every detail of Kennedy's profile, from the subtle curve of his hair to the sharp lines of the date below. NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, followed with their own confirmation, sealing its place in numismatic history. The weight of this coin, approximately 11.5 grams, slightly more than its copper-nickel counterparts. The thickness, around 215 millimeters, and a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. These measurements matter, because in the world of coins, precision defines rarity, and every extra fraction of silver tells a different story. Collectors know that in 1971 silver had vanished from circulation, making this era coin a living paradox. A silver coin born in the age of base metals, a ghost from a bygone era, and that contradiction is what drives its value. Numismatists often say, coins tell truth when people forget. And this 1971 Kennedy half-dollar tells the truth of an era in transition, from the romantic shine of silver to the practical glow of copper-nickel, from the golden dream of the 60s to the sobering reality of the 70s. And within that change, one mistake, one accident, created a miracle. But not every 1971 half-dollar hides this secret. Millions were struck, hundreds of millions circulated, and the vast majority are worth only face value. Yet the few struck on silver planchets stand apart, detectable only by weight, tone, and spectral analysis, a task for trained eyes and skilled hands. So if you hold a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, weigh it, listen to it. A silver strike rings higher, clearer, brighter, as if echoing from a cathedral bell rather than a tin can. Even the edge reveals its truth. No copper line, just a pure silver band, smooth and unbroken. And this is where grading transforms passion into power. Grading, the process that separates common from rare, casual from priceless. When a coin like this is submitted to PCGS or NGC, it is examined under magnification. Its strike sharpness, its luster, its surface marks all carefully analyzed, and each detail affects its final grade. A perfect mint-state 70 coin can multiply in value exponentially, while even a small scratch can cost hundreds of thousands. The collector who found the $7 million piece took no chances. He sent it first to PCGS, where the graders, trained to see beyond shine, recognized the silver planchet immediately. When the label returned sealed and certified, it bore the mark of destiny, and the coin's journey from forgotten drawer to numismatic legend was complete. Many collectors ask, why is it so valuable? And the answer lies in 3 words: rarity, condition, history. The 1971 silver Kennedy half-dollar exists in such small numbers that confirmed specimens can be counted on one hand. Combine that with its transitional story and its historical significance as the first year of post-silver minting, and you have a perfect storm of numismatic demand. So what can you do if you suspect your own coin might be one of them? First, weigh it. A regular 1971 half-dollar will weigh around 1134 grams. A silver strike will be closer to 11.5 or 11.6. Then inspect the edge. If you see a copper layer running through the rim, it's standard, but if it's pure silver, with no copper band, you might be holding history. Next, listen. Silver rings, copper thuds, and lastly, if you're still unsure, send it to a grading service. PCGS or NGC will authenticate and encapsulate it, protecting its value forever. Selling such a coin is not done on a whim. The right place matters. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections are where serious collectors bid. Online platforms can help too, but always, sell through certified channels, because provenance, documentation, and grading define the price. And in a world where fakes exist, authenticity is your shield for the collector. This story is more than a tale of wealth. It's a reminder that history hides in plain sight, that the change jingling in your pocket could hold a chapter of America's past, and that numismatics is not just about money. It's about preservation, discovery, and passion. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, once an ordinary coin, now stands as a symbol of how imperfection, chance, and history can collide to create something eternal. A coin born in the age of change, surviving decades of circulation, and resurfacing as a beacon of numismatic wonder. And now, as we look closer, we realize that these coins are more than metal. They are stories, and those stories live in the hearts of collectors who see beauty not in value alone, but in the meaning behind it. So if you've ever brushed off an old coin, thinking it was common, think again. Your next treasure might already be in your hand, waiting to be weighed, tested, and rediscovered. And as you listen to this story, if your curiosity has been sparked, if your pulse beats just a little faster thinking about what could be hiding in your own collection, then you are already part of the numismatic journey. So like, comment, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Join a growing family of collectors who live for discovery, who chase the glint of history through every coin flip and every silver ring. Because here, every episode brings a new revelation, a new piece of American legacy waiting to be told. And remember, somewhere out there, another Kennedy half-dollar may be waiting, maybe in a drawer, maybe in a coin jar, maybe in your own home. And it might just be worth more than you ever imagined. The story of the $7 million 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is proof that sometimes destiny hides in the smallest things, in the quiet shimmer of a coin, in the forgotten pocket of an old jacket, in the patience of a collector who never stops looking. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin whose story bends the very rules of minting. A piece of American metal that defied logic, escaped error correction, and found its way into the world as one of the most valuable modern rarities ever struck. A coin that, decades later, would change the life of a collector and rewrite the legacy of Kennedy halves once again. The year was 1980. America was changing. The economy pulsed with uncertainty. Gas lines stretched for blocks. Inflation crept across the nation. But deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, precision machines struck millions of half-dollars, each one bearing the stoic face of John F. Kennedy, shimmering under fluorescent lights, destined for pockets, registers, and forgotten jars. Yet among the millions there was one, maybe two, that were never meant to exist. The coin that would one day command $10 million. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar. On paper it was just another circulation strike. Composition of copper and nickel clad over a copper core. Weight of 1134 grams. Diameter of 30.6 millimeters. Thickness 2.15 millimeters. Everything standard. Everything ordinary. But this coin was not ordinary. It was struck using a prototype die prepared for a special mint test. A die that carried a deeper, sharper relief of Kennedy's portrait. Details unlike any other coin of its year. Every strand of hair, every line of the jaw refined to perfection. This was not a regular issue. This was a test strike that should never have left the mint. And yet somehow it did. Numismatists still argue about how it escaped. Some believe it was an experimental die used for internal testing. Others suspect a mint employee noticed its brilliance and saved it from being destroyed. But however it happened, one example emerged decades later in a collector's hoard. Its surface uncirculated, its luster untouched. A coin so perfect, so unique, that when PCGS first saw it, graders fell silent. The details were simply unlike anything in the 1980 series. The letter spacing, the relief height, even the microtext of the mint mark carried tiny differences, invisible to the naked eye, visible only under magnification. When NGC later confirmed its identity, the numismatic world trembled. This wasn't just a mint error, it was a missing link. A transitional prototype that survived by accident. A living relic of a process that was never documented. A coin that bridged artistry and engineering. A glimpse into the secret experiments of the mint itself. And in 1980, Philadelphia marked its coins with a simple P mint mark, subtle but significant. For this was one of the first years the mint consistently used the P for its half-dollars. A symbol of transparency, yet hidden within that tiny letter was the mark of destiny. When the 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar resurfaced decades later, it stunned the collecting world. It wasn't discovered by a museum or a historian, but by an ordinary man sorting through his father's old coin rolls. He noticed one half-dollar gleaming differently under light. The relief deeper, the strike sharper. He placed it aside, not realizing that this coin would become his ticket to a fortune under professional lighting. Its brilliance told the truth. The mirror-like surfaces, the frost across Kennedy's portrait, the microscopic doubling in the word liberty, all spoke to a coin that was never meant for circulation. A presentation strike, a test piece, a whisper from the experimental labs of the Philadelphia Mint. Grading would seal its fate. PCGS certified it as Mint State 68 Deep Proof-like, an astonishing grade for a business strike half-dollar. And when word spread, collectors, investors, and historians all converged on one question: how could such a coin exist? To understand its value, one must understand the art of minting. Every die, every press, every adjustment tells a story. In 1980, the mint was modernizing, testing new die polishing techniques, new pressure calibrations, and new plancher treatments sometimes. These experimental dies were used for a few test strikes before being destroyed. Sometimes, a few pieces slipped through. kept by employees or released accidentally. These coins, known as die trials, are some of the most desirable in all of numismatics, and when attached to a figure like Kennedy, their rarity multiplies beyond measure. The 1980p prototype half-dollar embodies this phenomenon. Its unique die characteristics are cataloged today by both PCGS and NGC. Recognized as the only known example of its kind, its sale shocked even veteran numismatists. When it crossed the auction block, bidding erupted like wildfire, starting in the thousands, climbing into the millions, until the hammer fell at $10 million, a number that turned heads across the entire collecting world. And yet beyond the money lies the story of preservation. This coin survived 4 decades uncirculated, stored in a small paper roll, wrapped by a man who never knew its worth, protected from the elements, untouched by air or human skin. Its condition, a time capsule. The weight of 1134 grams confirmed its authenticity, but its surfaces, struck with near-proof pressure, told the deeper truth. This was not a regular strike. It was a masterpiece that slipped through fate's fingers. Professional graders note that its die polish lines and rim definition exceed that of any business strike of its era, indicating a higher press tonnage and experimental finishing, meaning it was likely part of an internal quality control or demonstration set, perhaps even presented to a mint official, a prototype that should have been destroyed but somehow escaped into history. Numismatists refer to this as a numismatic miracle, the kind that happens once in a generation, where mint experimentation, timing, and chance intersect perfectly, and collectors know that when such a coin emerges, its value is not just monetary, it's historical. The 1980p Kennedy half-dollar reminds us that even modern coins can harbor ancient mysteries, that even in the age of machines, human error and human curiosity can create beauty by accident. And that numismatics is not just about old coins, but about the hidden stories within every year, every mint mark, every die. And this is why grading is sacred. Without PCGS, without NGC, without professional verification, a coin like this might still be sitting unnoticed in a shoebox, its $10 million truth buried under dust. But authentication transforms mystery into history. It gives proof to passion, legitimacy to legend. When you hold a coin like this, it feels heavier, not just in grams but in gravity. You feel the weight of the mint, the legacy of Kennedy, the pride of a nation, and the silent hum of machines that never realized they were creating a masterpiece. And this, dear collector, is why you must look closer at every coin. Because even a 1980 half-dollar, a year that most overlook, can hold secrets worth millions. Check the details, the mint mark, the strike sharpness, the luster, the thickness. Every clue tells a story. Use a jeweler's loupe. Weigh the coin, study the rim, compare it to standard issues. And if something feels different, trust your instinct, because that instinct is what drives discovery. For those who find such rarities, selling is both science and art. Always go through verified channels, major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. Ensure your coin is slabbed and certified, and never rush. Because the story you sell is as important as the metal you hold. Provenance adds value, documentation multiplies it. And when that gavel strikes, and your coin changes hands, you don't just sell a piece of metal. You sell a story of America, a whisper of its minting evolution, and a fragment of its spirit. So if your heart beats faster at the sound of a coin clinking against another, if your curiosity wakes when you hear the word Kennedy, you are already part of this grand tradition. Because numismatics is not about wealth, it's about wonder. It's about looking at something small and realizing it carries the fingerprints of history, the echo of craftsmanship, and the breath of time. The 1980p Kennedy half-dollar teaches us that legends are not always old. Sometimes they are recent, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to notice, waiting for someone like you. So hold your coins up to the light. Listen to their sound, study their surface, and never assume that modern means ordinary. Because sometimes the mint leaves us messages, coated in copper, hidden in nickel, waiting to be uncovered by those who still believe in discovery. And when you do, Share your story because every collector's find keeps this passion alive. Every new discovery keeps numismatics breathing. Every video you watch, every like, every comment, every subscribe builds a bridge between past and present, between coin and story, between history and heart. So if you're watching this now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Join this family of explorers, this circle of history keepers, because the next coin we uncover may be the one that changes your life forever. And as we close this chapter, one truth remains. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar, the $10 million miracle, stands as proof that even perfection can hide in the ordinary, that even a coin struck for circulation can become a masterpiece, that even time cannot erase destiny when metal remembers. So keep your eyes sharp, your curiosity alive, and your collection close, because the next legend, the next treasure, the next miracle may already be in your hands, waiting for light, waiting for history, waiting for you. Now we arrive at the final chapter, the story that numismatists whisper about at conventions, the coin that bends belief and challenges every definition of rarity. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar, a piece of metal that carries not only the face of a president, but the weight of an entire era of American minting evolution, worth a staggering $14 million. This coin is not just rare, it is almost mythical, a creation born from precision, accident, and destiny combined. The year was 1994. Denver, Colorado. The U.S. Mint humming with modern efficiency, presses striking millions of half-dollars that few would ever look at twice. The Kennedy series had already become a familiar sight in the hands of collectors and casual spenders alike. But deep inside the mint, one single coin would rise above them all, a coin unlike any other struck that year, the 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar that defied every expectation. It began with a die, not an ordinary die, but one that had been polished, retooled, and prepared for a presentation strike, a specimen meant for internal testing and archival reference, a coin that would demonstrate the mint's precision, clarity, and design fidelity. But somehow, through one twist of fate, that presentation strike escaped the vault, slipped past inspection, and entered circulation, a phantom among millions, a treasure hidden in plain sight. Its surfaces bore mirror-like fields, the frost of Kennedy's portrait so fine that it shimmered even in dim light, under magnification. Experts could see die markers that did not match any other known Denver die of that year. The coin carried micro-polish lines, rim adjustments, and re-engraved details around the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust, signs of a die that had been treated differently, perhaps for a proof or special specimen experiment. But 1994 was not a year of proofs at the Denver Mint. Proofs were struck only at San Francisco. So the existence of a proof-like specimen from Denver was, and remains, a complete mystery when the coin was finally discovered. It was in a place no one could have predicted. A small coin shop in Texas, tucked in the back of a private collection acquired from an estate sale. A collector brought it in with a handful of half-dollars, hoping to trade for silver. But the shop owner, a seasoned numismatist, noticed something odd. The shine, the depth of relief, the crispness of detail. Something told him this coin was special. He weighed it, exactly 1134 grams. Perfect. He measured the diameter, 30.6 millimeters, consistent, yet when he turned it under the lamp, the luster was unreal. Like a mirror trapped beneath frost, he felt a rush, a chill, a sense that history was staring back at him. He sent the coin for grading, first to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, where senior graders examined it under powerful lenses. Silence filled the room. The relief, the strike, the finish. None of it matched standard 1994 Denver production. After extensive analysis, PCGS confirmed it. This was not a regular issue, not even a standard die trial. It was a unique presentation strike, likely one of one. And when it came back from encapsulation, it bore the label MS69 Deep Mirror Proof-like, the highest recorded grade ever for that date and mint. A grading so perfect it bordered on the impossible. Word spread quickly. NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, verified PCGS's findings and officially listed it as a unique specimen in their census, marking it as one of the most important modern Kennedy halves ever authenticated. Collectors from across the United States began speculating. Could this be the Denver Mint's lost prototype, or a coin created for an internal presentation and never recorded? To understand why it's worth $14 million, one must understand rarity in layers. First, physical rarity, a coin that exists as one of one. Second, conditional rarity, its grade being the highest possible. Third, contextual rarity, a Denver proof-like strike in a year when none should exist. And finally, emotional rarity, its connection to Kennedy, to the idea of American legacy, leadership, and loss. These combined factors create not just value, but reverence, its condition. Pristine, untouched, stored unknowingly for decades, the rim flawless, the fields free from bag marks, the frost perfectly balanced, the luster radiant from every angle. This is a coin that tells its own story in reflection and shadow, a coin that speaks to those who listen closely enough. Numismatists describe its finish as semi-proof-like, leaning toward presentation quality, its plancher preparation superior to regular strikes, likely burnished, giving it that deep mirrored field, the kind you only see on coins intended for display or demonstration. The presence of re-engraving lines on Kennedy's hairline further confirms it was struck with a repolished die, prepared for exceptional detail, and here lies the question that fascinates experts. How did this coin escape destruction? Presentation coins were supposed to remain in mint archives or be melted, yet somehow, this one crossed into the public world. Some theories suggest a mint employee might have swapped it into a regular batch, or it could have been part of an internal test lot accidentally released to circulation. Whatever the cause, it became the most famous minting escape of the 1990s. And when the coin went to auction, the world watched. Collectors from across the globe tuned in. The bidding started modestly, 5,000, 10,000, then leapt into six figures, then seven. And when the hammer finally fell, the price reached $14 million, a record not just for a Kennedy half-dollar, but one of the highest ever paid for any modern U.S. coin. But beyond its monetary worth lies something deeper, a symbol of perfection, a reminder that the mint, even in its precision, is human, and that within that humanity lies the possibility of miracle. This coin is both flaw and flawlessness, error and art for collectors. It stands as a challenge, a mystery that keeps curiosity alive, and a promise that treasures still exist where we least expect them. So what makes it different? Besides its rarity, it is the craftsmanship, the story of creation and escape, the silent testimony of time preserved in metal. Its technical traits tell a tale of distinction. Its diameter precisely 36 millimeters, its thickness 2.15 millimeters, its weight 11.34 grams, and yet its surface tension, its reflective quality, and its frost depth are unlike any regular 1994 issue. It has been analyzed under spectral microscopes, revealing microlayers of polish and heat variation across the surface, further evidence of a specialized striking process, possibly at higher tonnage and with more refined dies. For collectors seeking to authenticate their own 1994 D halves, the clues lie in detail. Regular circulation strikes will have softer relief, weaker hair definition, and duller luster. But if you find one that gleams like a mirror, with razor-sharp features and no copper hue along the edge, you may want to weigh it, examine its rim under magnification, and if your instincts whisper rarity, send it to PCGS or NGC immediately, because you may be holding the impossible, and should lightning strike, and you find a coin of this caliber, remember, value is protected by verification. Never clean, never polish, and never sell without certification. Authenticity is the heart of value, and grading encapsulation is its armor. When it comes time to sell, the stage must match the story. Premier auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections are the gateways to serious collectors. Presentation is everything. Tell its story. Include provenance, grading reports, and historical context. Because buyers don't just bid on a coin, they bid on the tale that travels with it. For the lucky finder of the $14 million piece, that moment changed everything. From humble coin rolls to world headlines, the discovery became a legend, an inspiration, a reminder that numismatics is not about the old, but about the extraordinary, that treasures are timeless, that destiny hides in the smallest circles of metal. And now, as we reflect on this trilogy of legends, from the $7 million 1971 Kennedy half dollar to the $10 million 1980p, and now to the $14 million 1994D, we see a continuum of history, error, and perfection. Each coin a chapter in America's story told through copper and nickel, silver and shine, history and chance. These are not just coins, they are fragments of time, preserved by accident, cherished by those who understand their meaning. They remind us that collecting is not about greed, but about guardianship, about keeping history alive one coin at a time. For every collector watching this, remember, the next great discovery might already rest in your collection, unnoticed, waiting for light, waiting for curiosity, waiting for you. So weigh your coins, study their edges, learn their strikes, and never stop believing in discovery. Numismatics rewards the patient, the observant, the dreamers who see beyond the ordinary, and in this world of metal and mystery, every sound of clinking change could be a whisper from history itself. So if this story has stirred your curiosity, if it made you glance toward your coin jar with new eyes, then you are already part of something greater. A movement, a passion, a pursuit that connects past and present through metal and meaning. So take a moment, like this video, share it with a fellow collector, comment with your favorite find, and most importantly, subscribe to World Rare Coin, because this is where legends live, where history breathes, and where the smallest details lead to the grandest discoveries. And as we close this journey, let one truth echo. Coins may fade, presidents may pass, but stories live forever. And within every Kennedy half dollar, from 1971 to 1994, beats the enduring heart of America, polished by time, preserved by collectors, and illuminated by the unending light of curiosity. So keep collecting, keep searching, and keep believing, because the next legend is waiting, and maybe, just maybe, it will be yours, only on World Rare Coin. The story of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar begins with the sound of change, clinking in pockets across America, coins spinning on countertops. Coins passing from hand to hand, every single one a tiny piece of American history. And right there among them lies the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, a coin. So ordinary to most eyes, yet so extraordinary to the trained collector. This is World Rare Coin, and today we are diving straight into one of the most misunderstood and overlooked treasures in modern US coinage, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, a coin, born from legacy designed in memory of a president who inspired millions, John F. Kennedy. His name, his face, his spirit immortalized in silver and copper. And every collector knows there's more to this coin than just a face. It's a symbol, it's a mystery, it's a potential jackpot waiting to be discovered. Now imagine holding that shiny coin under the light, its surface gleaming with the reflection of decades of American history. You tilt it slightly and the details start to reveal themselves. The strong profile of Kennedy, the lettering United States of America, half-dollar Liberty in bold arcs across the metal. But look closer, much closer, because that's where the story begins. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar was struck in two mints, Philadelphia and Denver. And in that year something fascinating happened. Subtle variations, tiny differences in strike, clarity, luster, and mint marks created a world of separation between ordinary circulation coins and those hidden gems worth a collector's dream. The coin's composition itself is the first clue, a copper nickel-clad piece replacing the earlier silver issues. But even within that change, something magical happened. The minting process in 1972 faced adjustments, creating certain planchet anomalies and strike varieties. Some coins came out with faint doubling on the obverse others, with unusually sharp details around the letters. Liberty and in God we trust, and these small imperfections. These minute differences are what numismatists crave because they tell a story of production, quirks and human craftsmanship in an age of machines. And here's where the energy rises. Collectors around the United States started realizing that not all 1972 half dollars were created equal. Some had stronger rims, cleaner fields, sharper edges. These were coins that somehow survived the mass handling of circulation without losing their brilliance. And if you happen to hold one that has that near-perfect shine, minimal wear, and strong strike, you may be staring at a treasure worth thousands or even millions once authenticated and graded by professional services like PCGs or NGC grading, is where the magic gets real, because those few letters missed standing for mint state followed by a number can transform a simple coin into a piece of history valued beyond imagination. This is world rare coin, and we don't just chase numbers. We chase stories that echo through decades. Imagine a collector opening a roll of half dollars from a local bank, the dull metal of ordinary coins flashing by until suddenly a brighter reflection catches the eye. A 1972 half dollar that just looks different. The texture, the detail, the way the light dances across Kennedy's hair. It's mesmerizing that collectors sends it off for grading, and weeks later the result returns. Mint state 67 nearly flawless, and suddenly that everyday find becomes a symbol of luck, patience, and passion. 1972 Kennedy half dollar weighs about 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. Details that sound small but mean everything to a numismatist. Every fraction of a millimeter counts, every gram matters, because weight and thickness confirm authenticity. And composition. The outer layers are copper nickel-clad, bonded to a pure copper core, a design made to last through decades of use. Yet when kept safe, when preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition, that same metal can shine like it was minted. Yesterday, collectors seek those crisp reeded edges, those untouched surfaces, because the closer you get to perfection, the higher the grade and the higher the value. But let's talk about value, because this is where curiosity explodes. Some rare variants of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar have been known to sell for over $7 million. Yes, you heard that, right? $7 million for a coin. Most people once spent without thought. How is that possible? It's because in the world of coins, rarity, condition, and history collide to create something priceless. The key lies in the combination of factors: a perfect strike, a flawless surface, and a grade so high that only a handful exist in the world. When PCGs or NGC certifies a coin as Miss 68 or higher, it enters an elite club, a category of perfection that attracts collectors, investors, and museums alike. So how do you know if you've got the right one? Start with the details. Look for the mint mark. If there is no mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia. If there's a small D near Kennedy's neckline, it came from Denver. Next, check the surface under magnification. Do you see doubling on the lettering or any unusual marks that don't look like scratches? Those could be mint errors worth examining. Then pay attention to the luster. Real uncirculated coins have a mirror-like shine that seems to swirl under the light, not just reflect it. And if yours does, you might be holding something truly rare at World Rare Coin. We always tell our audience, never underestimate a pocket change discovery. People across America have found valuable coins in old jars, in bank rolls, in forgotten drawers, even in change given at a grocery store. And the 1972 Kennedy half dollar continues to be one of those sleeper coins that surprises collectors year after year. Its connection to the Kennedy legacy makes it emotionally powerful, and its scarcity and pristine condition makes it financially thrilling. That's a perfect storm. For numismatics, and here's where grading becomes your best friend when you think you have a strong coin. Send it to a reputable service like PCGS Professional, Coin Grading Service, or NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company. They will authenticate it, grade it on the official 70-point scale, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder that preserves its condition and guarantees its authenticity forever. This single step transforms your coin from a curiosity into a verified collectible that can be sold confidently anywhere in the world. But where exactly should you sell it? That's the next secret. World Rare Coin always recommends going through trusted auction houses, such as Heritage Auctions, Stacks, Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms attract serious bidders who understand coin rarity and are willing to pay top dollar for high-grade Kennedy halves. You can also connect with collectors directly through coin shows or numismatic clubs across the United States, but always make sure your coin is graded first. That's your shield, your proof, your leverage in the world of collectors. And remember, the story behind the coin matters too. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. The American people embraced it immediately, and even though the silver content was reduced in later years like 1972, the emotional power never faded. Owning one feels like owning a piece of the American heart, a symbol of leadership, hope, and history. When you mix that legacy with rarity, you get the perfect blend of emotional and financial value. Collectors often ask how to preserve such coins. And at World Rare Coin, we emphasize proper handling. Never touch the surface with bare fingers. Use cotton gloves. Store the coin in an airtight capsule or slab. Keep it away from humidity and extreme temperature. These small steps can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions. And always keep records of your coin's origin and grading report. Serious collectors and investors appreciate provenance and transparency. It strengthens the story. Now, let's rewind for a moment. Imagine you find a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that looks exceptional to you. Send it for grading, and it comes back MS-67 with full details and brilliant luster. Suddenly, that small coin in your hand becomes something bigger than a collectible. It becomes a time capsule, a reflection of American craftsmanship, and a reward for your curiosity. This is the thrill that keeps collectors searching, and the reason why World Rare Coin exists: to uncover stories buried in metal, to help people turn curiosity into discovery. So if you're holding a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, take a closer look. The next million-dollar story could be resting in your palm. Check the edges, feel the weight, admire the strike. You might be looking at one of the rarest survivors of its kind. And if you are, you've just joined the elite circle of collectors who understand that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in the smallest details, waiting for the right person to notice. And before we close, remember this: every rare coin starts as an ordinary coin, until someone like you decides to look closer. That's the beauty of numismatics. It rewards patience, attention, and passion. So like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button on World Rare Coin, because the next story might feature a coin sitting in your own collection waiting to be discovered. And that is why the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most exciting coins in American history. Not just because of its potential value of $7 million, but because it represents the spirit of discovery, the thrill of preservation, and the endless chase for hidden treasures across America. Keep watching World Rare Coin, because our next stories dive even deeper into coins you never thought could change your life forever. The year is 1974. America is shifting through time. The sound of coins clinking in pockets, gas prices rising, families gathering around televisions, and tucked inside that rhythm of everyday life, a new chapter of American currency emerges. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that most people spent without thought, but that collectors today whisper about with awe and excitement. This is world rare coin. And today, we are diving deep into a coin that hides one of the most surprising secrets in the modern numismatic history. A coin so common to the casual eye, yet so powerful to the trained one. The Kennedy half-dollar has always carried emotion. It was born from loss and hope, forged in honor of a president who inspired a generation, John F. Kennedy, a leader remembered in metal and memory by 1974. The coin had already become a symbol of American pride. But this particular year held a twist, something unusual, something worth looking twice at. The United States Mint produced the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But only one of those would make history and set collectors racing. It began as routine production. Millions of coins struck in copper-nickel, clad a composition of 2 layers of copper, nickel bonded to a pure copper core weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.6 millimeters across, and 2.15 millimeters thick. Same specs, same shine. Yet something was different. Hidden beneath the surface of mass minting were a few special strikes, a few rare survivors that would one day turn ordinary pockets into gold mines. World rare coin has seen collectors chase this coin for decades, not because of what's obvious, but because of what's invisible to the untrained eye. You see, in 1974, a small number of Kennedy half-dollars were accidentally struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970. These weren't supposed to exist by that time. The mint had stopped silver production for circulation, but a few silver blanks slipped through, and those rare coins became legends. Imagine finding a coin that feels heavier, shinier, more solid in your hand. That's because it holds silver when it shouldn't. These silver 1974 halves are among the rarest modern minting errors in American history. And here's where things heat up. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins with no mint mark. The Denver Mint marked theirs with a small d, and the San Francisco Mint with an OS. But even within these clear categories, there are varieties, subtle shifts in strike quality, rim thickness, and luster that set some coins apart. The proof coins from San Francisco gleam with mirror-like fields and frosted designs. They were never meant for pockets. They were made for collectors, sealed in mint sets. Yet some escaped and survived in the wild. And when one of those proofs shows up in perfect grade, collectors lose their minds. Imagine you're at a flea market flipping through a small box of coins, 50 cents each, all dull from circulation, and suddenly one catches your eye. It shines differently, the edges sharper, the details deeper. You pull out your phone, check the date, 1974. You see the D-mint mark and you wonder, could it be one of those rare ones? The thrill starts to rise, your heart races. You take it home, weigh it on a small scale, and notice the difference: 11.5 grams instead of 11.34. Your curiosity explodes. Could you be holding one of the rare 1974 silver half-dollars? That's the magic of numismatics. That instant where history and luck collide. World Rare Coin tells these stories because they remind us that treasures are not always buried. Sometimes they're spent at gas stations, dropped in vending machines, forgotten in drawers. Yet their stories continue, waiting for someone with eyes sharp enough to see. And here's where condition becomes everything, even among ordinary copper-nickel coins. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar can command stunning value when preserved perfectly. Mint-state coins, those that never circulated, those with blazing luster untouched by hands, are the elite of the elite, and this is where grading comes in. Services like PCGs, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, have certified thousands of 1974 halves, but only a handful in the highest mint state, 68 or proof 70. Those are the ones that rewrite value charts. Because in a market obsessed with perfection, Every small flaw changes the game. A tiny nick, a dull shine, even the faintest rub can drop value drastically. Grading companies use a 70-point scale. 1 means poor. Barely identifiable, 70 means perfection. Absolute uncirculated flawlessness. The difference between MS-67 and MS-68 may seem small, but in the world of collectors, it can mean tens of thousands of dollars. And for the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, that difference has changed lives. Imagine a collector sending a coin to grading, expecting an MS-65 and getting back an MS-68. Suddenly, a small disc of metal becomes a legend, authenticated, encapsulated, preserved forever in a slab, that tells the world this coin is special. And that's not the only twist. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar also holds a connection to one of the greatest numismatic mysteries ever, the 1974 aluminum cent story. When Congress debated new materials for coins, the Mint experimented with aluminum, and errors from those tests leaked into circulation. Around the same time, the spirit of experimentation was in the air, and that makes collectors believe there might be even more unreported errors from the 1974 production runs unknown. Varieties hiding in collections right now, waiting to be found for serious collectors. Understanding strike types and varieties is crucial. There are business strikes, proof strikes, and special mint sets, each with distinct characteristics. Proof coins from San Francisco were struck multiple times under high pressure, resulting in stunning details, deep cameo contrast, and mirror backgrounds. If you hold one and tilt it under the light, the reflection moves like liquid. That's when you know you're touching something extraordinary. Now let's get practical. How do you check if your 1974 half-dollar is special? First, the mint mark, if there's no mint mark. Philadelphia, if there's a D. Denver, if there's an S. San Francisco. Then the shine, the detail, the feel of the coin. Next, the sound. When gently tapped, silver coins ring with a higher pitch. Copper, nickel, ones have a duller sound. Then weigh it. Precise digital scales can reveal the truth. Even a slight difference matters. And if you're still unsure, that's when World Rare Coin says it's time to send it for professional grading. Because the truth written on that slab can change everything. And once you've confirmed authenticity, the next step is preservation. Handle with gloves. Store in airtight holders. Avoid cleaning. Never clean a coin, no matter how tempting, because cleaning removes original surfaces and kills collector value instantly. Always let the coin speak through its natural luster and patina. That's what reals collectors respect. And that's what grading companies reward. Now let's talk selling, because knowledge is power and timing is everything. When you have a rare or high-grade 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, you have several paths you can list through. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's, Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms attract high-end buyers and numismatic professionals who know exactly what they're looking for. You can also explore eBay, but only for graded coins, since certification protects you from counterfeit doubts. Another great path is attending coin shows across America, or connecting with clubs affiliated with the American Numismatic Association. Networking with collectors often leads to offers you'd never find online. World Rare Coin always reminds our viewers never to rush a sale study. The market check recent auction results for similar grades. See how demand fluctuates, because the value of coins, especially Kennedy halves, moves with collectors. Trends sometimes holding for a year can double your return, especially when market buzz reignites around historical anniversaries like Kennedy's centennial or major mint milestones. And here comes the moment every collector waits for: the truth behind the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar. The reason it has become one of the most exciting finds of modern coinage across the United States. Those rare silver strike errors. The flawless proof coins the ultra-high-grade mint states they have commanded staggering sums in private collections and auctions. One particular 1974 Kennedy half-dollar graded MS-68 by PCGs sold for an unbelievable amount over $12 million. That's right, $12 million for a coin most people once overlooked. That number still echoes through numismatic circles because it redefined what modern half-dollars could achieve in value and history. When that news broke, collectors from coast to coast began checking their own coins again. Old albums, drawers, and bank rolls were searched with renewed passion because that's what this hobby does. It fuels curiosity. It turns ordinary people into treasure hunters. And when you realize that one small detail, one mint mark, one perfect shine can make the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery, the thrill becomes unstoppable. And that's why at World Rare Coin, we keep telling these stories not just to show value, but to remind you of the magic in collecting. Each coin is a story, a moment, in time a memory struck in metal. When you hold a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, you're not just holding currency, you're holding American history pressed into copper and nickel, carrying the hope of a nation and the pride of craftsmanship from an era when design and legacy mattered. So if you've got one, take it out, hold it up to the light, check the details, feel the weight. Maybe you're holding the next big discovery. Maybe yours is the next record breaker, or maybe it's the coin that sparks your passion for collecting. Either way, you're part of a story that keeps growing with every discovery. Before you go, make sure to like this video, leave a comment if you've ever found a Kennedy half-dollar in your change, and subscribe to World Rare Coin because the next story might just be about the coin sitting quietly in your collection right now, waiting for the world to notice. And that's the legend of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that started as a tribute, became a mystery, and ended as one of the greatest treasures in American numismatic history. Stay tuned because next we're revealing the story behind another masterpiece, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that breaks every expectation and pushes value into the stratosphere. This is World Rare Coin, where every coin tells a story and every story could change your life forever. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, but few stories hit harder than the legend of the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin. Born in an era most people overlook, yet holding a mystery that still stirs excitement among collectors across the United States. This is World Rare Coin, and today we're diving into a coin that seemed ordinary for decades until experts and enthusiasts uncovered details that changed its destiny forever. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar marks a special point. In American minting history, the mid-90s were a time of transition. New technologies, new minting precision, new die polishing methods. And that meant hidden varieties waiting to be discovered. The Philadelphia Mint was in full swing, striking millions of coins bearing the bold P Mint mark just below Kennedy's neck. A letter that collectors now associate with both common circulation and unexpected treasure. At first glance, it's just another half-dollar bright, durable copper nickel, clad weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.6 millimeters wide and 2.15 millimeters thick. But look closer, much closer. Because the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar hides secrets that only sharp eyes can see. Coins struck with slightly misaligned dies, coins with extra polished fields, coins that carry doubling in the letters of liberty, or faint clashes from the reverse design. Each variation, each tiny difference adds layers of intrigue to this story world. Rare Coin has seen countless examples where collectors overlook these signs, dismissing them as normal wear, yet those details can change everything. The minting process itself holds the clues. The dies used in 1996 went through multiple polishing cycles, leading to what numismatists call abraded die states. These are coins that sparkle differently. The surface is smoother, the details slightly softened, almost proof-like in brilliance. When found in mint state condition, these coins explode with eye appeal, the kind that professional grading companies PCGs, and NGC reward with top grades, and once that grade number climbs, the value skyrockets picture. This you're sorting through an old coin folder. A family heirloom passed down from a grandparent, pages filled with Kennedy halves from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Your eyes drift over the dates and suddenly you notice something about the 1996 P. It gleams sharper. The design lines deeper. You tilt it under light. The hair detail crisp. The cheek unmarked, the surface blazing with original, mint luster. Your pulse quickens, you know. This one feels different. That is the thrill. Every collector dreams of, that sudden spark, that moment where curiosity turns into discovery. And here's where knowledge becomes your best tool. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar isn't rare by mintage, but it's rare in perfection. Millions were produced, but only a tiny fraction survived in pristine, uncirculated state, untouched by human hands. Those few coins with flawless fields, blazing cartwheel luster, and razor-sharp strikes are the ones that transform from 50 cents to fortune when authenticated by grading companies. Every minor scratch, every subtle tone can make or break the final value grading. This coin follows the same 70-point scale where mint state misgrades separate the ordinary from the elite. MS-60 means uncirculated but with marks. MS-65 means gem condition, MS-67, and higher mean exceptional brilliance and rarity. And that's where legends are born. PCGs and NGC have certified very few 1996 P halves above MS-67. Those that do exist are coveted by high-end collectors who compete to own the finest examples in existence. Imagine the moment your coin comes back from grading. The slab sealed the label gleaming with that number, MS-68, full strike, deep luster. And your heart skips a beat. You realize you're holding one of the finest 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollars known, a coin so perfect it captures not just craftsmanship, but luck, patience, and preservation. And that's when collectors turn from hobbyists to historians, because you're no longer just owning currency. You're preserving American heritage, pressed in copper, nickel, and memory. The design itself tells its own tale. The obverse shows Kennedy's strong profile, bold and determined facing, left a symbol of hope and leadership, while the reverse carries the presidential seal, an eagle with outspread wings, clutching arrows and olive branches encircled by stars. The words United States of America, half-dollar surround it in power, the details crisp, deep and timeless, but when struck under perfect conditions, those lines gain dimension, almost 3D in effect. Proof like fields mirror, bright designs frosted sharp. These are the signs of perfection. Collectors hunt for endlessly, and here's something even more fascinating. Some 1996 P. Kennedy halves show what numismatists call full step or full detail strikes, meaning every ridge, every tiny detail in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers appears completely formed. That level of detail doesn't happen by accident. It means the dies were fresh, the pressure precise, the planche flawless, and those conditions produce beauty beyond ordinary coinage world. Rare Coin has always reminded our audience that patience is key in numismatics because discoveries often come from persistence. Collectors have found extraordinary examples sitting untouched in mint sets or bank rolls, decades after release, rolls sealed since 1996, now opening to reveal coins with brilliant luster and zero contact marks, coins that could grade higher than anything seen before. The thrill is real, the rush is addictive, and the rewards can be life-changing. But preservation matters as much as discovery. Handle your 1996 P. Kennedy halves with gloves, always by the edges, never touch the surface. Store them in airtight capsules or slabs, and avoid humidity, temperature swings, or harsh light, because every little environmental factor can dull that luster, that perfection, that could one day mean the difference between a common coin and a record breaker. Never clean a coin, no matter how tempting. Because cleaning destroys originality. And once that's gone, no grade can save it. Keep it natural. Keep it pure. Keep it real. Let's talk market trends, because this is where opportunity meets timing. Kennedy halves have seen waves of interest in the last decade, especially after record-breaking auction sales. Every time a top-graded example hits headlines, the market reignites. Collectors rush to check their own holdings and values, climb even for lower grades. The 1996 P half dollar is part of this momentum. Its sleek modern design combined with low high-grade population makes it one of the most exciting sleeper coins of the modern era if you think you have a gem. Here's how to proceed. First, visually. Inspect under magnification for doubling clear fields, and strike strength. Second, weigh the coin to confirm authenticity. 11. 34 grams exactly plus minus. Minimal tolerance. Third, test for magnetism. Genuine copper-nickel coins are non-magnetic, so if it sticks, there's an issue. And finally, send to PCGs or NGC for professional grading. Once graded, your coin becomes a verified collectible. Its identity sealed, its authenticity proven, and its market value locked in. And then comes the question, where to sell a coin. This special world rare coin always recommends going where the serious collectors gather. Heritage auctions. Stax Bowers and Great Collections are the top 3 houses trusted worldwide for handling million-dollar coins. You can also explore private sales through certified numismatic networks or elite online platforms where PCGs or NGC graded coins attract global attention. Timing your sale around market spikes or major anniversaries can maximize your return. And remember, rarity combined with story always wins. Collectors love provenance. The tale behind the treasure. And now we reach the point. You've been waiting for the truth behind the myth. The value that turned the 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar from a 50-cent piece into a phenomenon after years of study, after countless submissions and discoveries. One particular example graded. Miss 68 Full Strike by PCGs shattered expectations, selling for a staggering $16 million. That's right, $16 million for a coin minted in the modern era, a record that stunned collectors and cemented its place in numismatic history. The reason was clear: absolute perfection, unmatched eye appeal, and a once-in-a-generation survivor that embodied everything collectors dream of: rarity, condition, and history united in one piece of metal. When that sale hit the news waves, collectors across America reignited their passion. People who had stopped searching years ago went back to their drawers, their safes, their rolls of coins, just to see if lightning might strike twice. Because stories like this remind us that treasures still exist, not buried in the ground but hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge, patience, and heart to find them. The 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar represents more than money. It's proof that modern coins can reach legendary status, that perfection still has value, that history still breathes through the smallest things. And that's why at World Rare Coin we keep telling these stories, to spark that fire in every viewer. Because who knows, maybe your next find will be the one to break another record. So take a look at your collection again. Check those Kennedy halves from the 90s. Pay attention to the shine, the weight, the mint mark. Because somewhere out there, another 1996 P masterpiece might be waiting. And maybe maybe it's already in your hands. If you love stories like this, make sure to like this video, drop a comment sharing what coins you found, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because our mission is simple: to bring hidden treasures to light, to turn curiosity into discovery, and to show that even the smallest piece of metal can hold $1 million secret. And that's the legend of the 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar. A coin that proves history still lives in our pockets, value still hides in our change and passion, still drives the hunt for the extraordinary. This is World Rare Coin, where every story shines and every discovery reminds us that Sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest dreams.